The twin moons of Velmora shone softly over the royal palace. Tall silver towers touched the night sky, and glowing flowers lit up the palace gardens. Queen Elena stood alone near a statue made of crystal. It was a statue of her daughter Princess Saria, who vanished many years ago. Saria had gone on a peace mission to another star system when she was only 18. Our ship had disappeared without a trace. Search teams looked for months, but nothing was found. Everyone believed she had died. But the queen never gave up hope. Every night, Queen Elena visited her daughter's statue. Her eyes always held sadness. "Where are you, my child?" she whispered. "Are you still alive?" Far away, on a small green hill on Earth, a woman looked at the same sky. Her name was Saria, but here, no one knew she was a lost alien princess. She looked like a kind, gentle woman who lived quietly with her 2 children, Leo, a brave 10-year-old boy, and Mira, a clever 8-year-old girl. Saria loved her children more than anything. They were born on Earth, and she raised them alone. She never told them who she truly was. She never spoke of Velmora, the palace, or the stars she once called home. But that night was different, as Saria sat outside. Watching the stars, a strange light blinked in the sky. It was not a star, not a plane. It was a symbol, 3 golden rings, moving around each other. Her heart skipped a beat. It was the royal signal of Velmora. Only the queen could send it. Saria stood up quickly, her breath caught in her throat. "Mother, you're calling me?" Leo came running outside. "Mom, what's wrong?" Saria smiled, but her eyes were watery. "Leo, Mira, come here. I have something very important to tell you." Inside the house, she sat them down. Her fingers trembled as she held a small glowing crystal in her hand. "I'm not from Earth," she said slowly. "I was born far away, on a planet called Velmora. I was a princess there. But many years ago I crashed on Earth and no one came looking for me. I stayed here, and I had both of you." Leo's eyes went wide. "Wait, you're a princess. And we're half alien?" Mira added in a soft voice. Saria nodded. "Yes, but more than that. You are loved. You are special. And now my home calls me back." "Are we going with you?" Leo asked. "Yes," Saria said. "I won't leave you behind." From under the house, she pulled a hidden hatch open. Below was a secret room filled with strange metal parts, blinking lights, and a half-built spaceship. Mira gasped. "You were building a ship?" Saria smiled. "I knew one day this moment would come." For the next few days, they worked together. Saria fixed the engines. Leo connected wires. Mira used her small hands to fit parts in tight spaces. They worked day and night, and finally, the small starship was ready. Saria stood before it with her children. It was silver and round, with soft lights and smooth wings. Inside, the ship felt warm and safe. "Are you ready?" she asked. Leo grinned. "Ready for space adventure?" Mira held her mother's hand. "Let's go home." With a soft hum, the ship lifted into the sky. Clouds rushed past. Stars grew bigger. Earth became a tiny blue ball behind them. The journey through space was long. They passed glowing comets and silent moons. They shared stories, laughed, and sometimes just sat quietly holding hands. But danger waited as they entered a strange zone near Velmora. Red lights flashed on the ship. "Pirates!" Saria shouted. A large black ship appeared on their screen, heading straight for them. Leo looked scared. "What do we do?" "Stay calm," Saria said. She took the controls and turned sharply. The pirate ship fired laser shots. One hit the wing, but it only burned the surface. Mira stared at the map. "Mom, if we fly through that asteroid field, they can't follow." Saria trusted her. She turned the ship into the field. Rocks flew past, spinning and crashing. Pirates tried to follow, but one hit a large asteroid and exploded. "We did it," Leo shouted. "That was awesome," Saria smiled. "Good thinking, Mira." At last, after many days, they reached Velmora. The planet was as beautiful as Saria remembered. Blue skies, silver oceans, green mountains. But as they entered the planets, Space Zone, many small ships surrounded them. These were Royal Guard ships. Halt. A voice said, "Unknown ship. State your name and purpose." Saria pressed a button. "This is Princess Saria of Velmora. I am returning home." There was silence. Then a different voice answered, shocked and shaky. Double quotes. ... Sir EA. "Is it truly you? I'm home," she said. "And I brought my children." The guards escorted her ship to the royal palace. Queen Alina stood in the landing area, eyes full of disbelief. Her hands trembled as she saw the ship's door open. Syria stepped out slowly. Her long cloak moved with the breeze. She looked the same, only older, wiser, mother. She whispered. Queen Alina ran forward and held her tightly. "My child, you're alive." Leo and Mira stepped out behind her. The queen looked at them in surprise. "These are your children?" Saria nodded. "Yes, my heart, my life. Their names are Leo and Mira." The queen knelt down and looked into the children's eyes. "Then they are royal blood too. Welcome home." But behind the queen, many royal advisors and nobles whispered. Some looked confused. Some looked angry. The homecoming was not going to be easy, but Saria held her children close and whispered, "We are together. That's what matters." Inside the grand palace of Velmora, everything looked beautiful, tall, crystal walls, its golden lights and guards in shining armor. But the air felt tense. Saria stood beside her two children in the royal hall. Queen Alina sat on her throne, eyes filled with emotion. Her daughter had returned after all these years, but the court was filled with whispers. Her children are human. She broke the royal law. Can they even survive on Velmora? Saria heard every word, but she kept her face calm. Leo stood beside her, holding her hand tightly. Mira looked around with wide eyes, not understanding why people stared at them. Queen Alina raised her hand. The whispers stopped. "My daughter is alive," she said. "That alone is a blessing, and her children are part of her. We will treat them with respect." "But your majesty," said Minister Vornok, a thin alien with sharp eyes. "They are not full Velmoran. This has never happened before. It must be tested. We must know if they are worthy." Saria stepped forward. "They are my children. If you want to test them, then fine, but I will not let anyone harm them." Queen Elena nodded slowly. "Very well. They will go through the ancient trials. If they pass, they will be accepted. If not, we shall discuss further." Later that night, in their new palace room, Leo sat near the window, staring at the stars. Mira was quiet, holding her soft toy. "Do you think they don't like us?" she asked softly. Saria sat beside her. "They don't know you yet, my love. They fear what they don't understand." Leo looked at his mother. "We'll show them. We're strong. We're not scared." Saria smiled and hugged both her children. "You are both stronger than you think." The next day, the children were taken to the trial hall, a wide-open arena surrounded by glass walls. Royal leaders and nobles sat high above, watching closely. Trial 1. The puzzle of knowledge. Mira was the first to step forward. In front of her floated a glowing cube with hundreds of moving parts. The task was to solve it using only her mind. And understanding, the court watchers whispered, "No outsider child can solve the knowledge cube." But Mira sat down calmly. Her fingers touched the cube. She studied the movements, the patterns. Slowly, she began turning the pieces. Minutes passed. Then the cube stopped, glowing into soft chime rang. She solved it, someone shouted. The cube floated upward, shining bright, meaning the trial was passed. The nobles looked surprised. Minister Vornok frowned. Queen Elena clapped softly. "Very good, little one." Trial 2. The test of courage now. It was Leo's turn. He was taken to the wild garden, a place where controlled wild beasts lived. He had to face one of them, not to fight, but to show courage. The gate opened. A tall creature with 6 legs, glowing eyes, and sharp horns walked toward him. The audience gasped. Leo stood still, could hear his heartbeat, fast and loud. But he remembered his mother's words. Courage doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you move forward anyway. As the beast growled, something caught Leo's Aja, small, injured animal behind a rock, trapped. Instead of running, Leo slowly walked toward it. The big creature stepped in front of him and growled louder. But Leo knelt down and opened his arms. "It's okay," he whispered. "I won't hurt you. I just want to help." Then, slowly, it stepped. Aside, Leo picked up the small creature and walked back toward the gate. The crowd was silent for a moment. Then they clapped loudly. He faced the beast without fear, saved a life. Queen Elena smiled proudly. Saria wiped a tear from her eye. Trial 3. The crystal of truth, the final test, was the most important. Both children stood before a large glowing crystal. It could read hearts. If their hearts were pure, the crystal would shine. If not, it would turn dark. Leo and Mira held hands. Crystal floated before them, spinning slowly. The air became still. Suddenly the crystal turned golden and bright. It spun faster, glowing so much that everyone had to cover their eyes. When it stopped, a symbol appeared above it. 2 stars joined together. That symbol meant unity. The hall was silent. Then Queen Elena stood up. "The crystal has spoken. These children are worthy of our bloodline."
Ow.
Some nobles clapped.
Ow.
Others remained quiet. But no one could argue against the truth of the crystal. That night, a grand dinner was held. Saria and her children sat at the royal table beside the queen. The air felt lighter. Leo smiled. Mira laughed. Saria looked around with joy. "You did so well," she whispered to her children. "I'm so proud." Queen Elena raised her glass. 2 new beginnings, 2 family. But in the dark corner of the hall, Minister Vornok watched with cold eyes. He leaned toward a shadowy figure beside him. "This changes nothing," he whispered. "I will not let humans sit on our throne." The figure nodded. "Shall we move to the next step?" "Yes," Vornok said. "Let's see how strong their bond really is." Back in their room, Saria tucked Myra into bed. Leo yawned and curled up with his blanket. "Do you think we'll stay here forever?" Leo asked. Saria looked out the window at the glowing towers of Velmora. "I don't know," she said honestly. "But for now, we are home, and that's enough." In the sky, the stars shone bright, but one shadow moved silently across them, unseen. Something dark was coming. The morning sun of Velmora shone gently over the palace towers. Birds with glowing feathers flew across the sky. The city around the palace was waking up, but inside the royal walls, something was not right. Saria sat in the palace garden with Leo and Myra. Flowers opened in bright colors and soft music played in the air. But Saria could feel something strange in the wind. Leo was practicing with a wooden staff, copying moves he had seen from the royal guards. Mira was reading a floating book. But both children still noticed how some people stared at them with doubt. "Why do they keep looking at us like we don't belong?" Leo asked. Saria sighed. "Because they are afraid of change. They don't know you like I do." Mira looked up. "But we passed the trials. Doesn't that mean we're part of Velmora now?" "Yes," Saria said with a gentle smile. "You passed with honor. But some hearts take longer to change." Meanwhile, in a hidden room inside the palace, Minister Vornok spoke to a group of nobles in secret. "She brings human children here and expects us to bow," he hissed. "This is not the future of Velmora." Another noble spoke, but the crystal accepted them. "We cannot go against royal law." "We don't need to go against the law," Vornak replied. "We just need to show the people that humans are a danger." He placed a glowing map on the table. It showed a remote area on the edge of the city. "Tonight, we will strike. We'll make it look like Earth rebels tried to harm the royal family. And we will make the human children look like the cause." The room fell silent. "You're risking war," one noble warned. "No," Vornak said. "I'm saving Velmora." That evening, Queen Elena invited her daughter and grandchildren to a special dinner in the royal sky garden. The garden floated high in the air, connected by light bridges. Saria wore a silver gown. Leo wore a short robe with gold patterns, and Mira wore a light blue dress with glowing stars stitched by hand. "You look beautiful," Syria said to her daughter. Mira smiled shyly. They reached the sky garden. Queen Elena stood waiting, wearing her royal crown. "You all look wonderful," she said warmly. As they ate together, birds sang and gentle winds flowed through the garden. For a short while, everything felt peaceful. Queen Elena leaned close to her daughter. "I've missed you more than you know." "I missed you too, Mother," Syria said softly. Mira whispered to Leo, "Maybe we really can live here happily." But far below, in the shadows of the city, Minister Vornek's plan had already begun. Late that night, Syria woke with a strange feeling. Something was wrong. She stood and looked out the window. In the distance, smoke was rising. Suddenly alarms rang in the palace. Guards rushed through the halls. Syria grabbed her children and ran toward the main corridor. "What's happening?" Leo asked, scared. "I don't know," Syria said. "Stay close to me." They were met by a royal guard. "Princess, the outer city is under attack." A group in strange armor was seen placing energy bombs near the border towers. Queen Elena joined them, her face filled with worry. "We don't know who they are yet, but the people are afraid." More guards came with news. The attackers look. Human Syria's eyes widened. "What?" "It's not true," Leo shouted. "We would never hurt anyone." "I believe you," Queen Elena said, "but others may not." In the royal hall, many nobles gathered quickly. Minister Vornak stood before them with a fake look of sadness. "This is what I warned you about," he said loudly. "Humans are dangerous. Their presence has brought enemies to our door." Queen Elena raised her hand. "We don't know the truth yet. Cannot blame children for what others have done." But the room buzzed with fear and doubt. Some nobles demanded answers. Others whispered about removing the children from the palace. Vornak smiled secretly. His plan was working. That night Syria sat with Leo and Mira in their room. The door was guarded by soldiers, but it felt more like a cage than protection. "I don't understand," Mira said. "Why do they blame us?" "Because we're different," Leo answered angrily. "Because we're not full Velmaron." Syria pulled them both into her arms. "You are my children. No matter what anyone says, you belong here." Soft knock came at the door. It was Queen Elena. "I have to protect you," she said. "We need to find the truth before it's too late." Syria looked at her mother. "Do you believe Vornak is behind this?" The queen nodded. "Known him for years. He hides his greed behind words of tradition." "I'll find proof," Syria said. "But keep the children safe. Please." Queen Elena touched her daughter's face. "You are stronger than you know." The next morning, rumors spread all across the city. Some said the queen's grandchildren were part of a secret Earth plan. Others believed they were innocent. The people were divided. In the shadows, Vornak smiled. "Now," he said, "we bring fear to the palace walls." Was that Mira had overheard one of his spies speaking near the garden wall. The little girl had memorized every word. She ran to her mother. "Mom, I heard something." One of the men said Vornak paid them to wear Earth armor and attack. Syria's eyes lit up. "That's it. It's the proof we need." "But how do we show it?" Leo asked. Syria looked outside. "We don't hide anymore. We fight with truth." Morning came with a heavy sky. Even though the sun shone, the palace felt cold and quiet. Tension hung in the air like a storm about to break. Queen Elena paced the royal balcony, her eyes full of worry. Her daughter Syria stood beside her. "With Leo and Mira, Vornak's lies are spreading," the queen said. "Many nobles are now afraid. They demand your children be sent away until the truth is clear." Syria held Mira close. "I won't let them take my children." Leo looked up at his grandmother. "Can't we show them we're not the enemy?" "We will," Syria replied. "And we have a way to prove it," Mira stepped forward and told them everything she heard in the garden about the men wearing Earth armor and about Vornak's secret plan. Queen Elena listened carefully. "This is serious," the queen said. "But a child's word won't be enough in court. We need more." Nodded. "Then we must find someone who was part of Vornak's plan." and make them speak the truth. That night, Syria went into the lower city in disguise. She wore a cloak and moved quietly through the shadows. The city was still busy, but people talked in hushed tones. Fear of another attack was everywhere. She reached a dark alley where her old friend Tovik lived, a former royal guard who now worked as a mechanic. Tovik was shocked to see her. "Syria? Is it really you? I need your help," she said. "I'm looking for someone, one of Vornik's hired men." Tovik thought for a moment. "There's a man named Darren. He was seen taking payment from Vornik's people. He drinks at the Sci-Fi Tavern." Without wasting time, Syria rushed to the tavern. The place was filled with loud music and flashing lights. In a corner, she spotted a tall man with a scar on his cheek, Darren. She approached him, calm but firm. "You were paid by Vornak to wear earth armor and attack the city. I need you to speak the truth." Darren looked scared. "I can't. If I speak, I'm as good as dead." "I will protect you," she promised. "The Queen will protect you. But my children are in danger because of this lie." Darren looked into her eyes and saw the fire there, slowly nodded. "I'll speak." The next day, the royal high court was called to session. All the nobles, guards, and royal families were present. The hall was large, made of clear crystal, walls and silver floors. 1,000 eyes watched. Vornak stood proudly in the front. "This meeting is to decide the future of the Queen's grandchildren. Their presence has brought danger. I suggest they be removed from the royal line." Whispers filled the room. Some nobles nodded in agreement. Queen Alina raised her hand. "Before any decision is made, we have a witness." Syria stepped forward with Darren behind her. The guards looked surprised. Vornak narrowed his eyes. "Who is this man?" Darren bowed to the Queen, then looked around. "My name is Darren. I was paid to attack the city, ... by Minister Vornak. We wore armor that looked human. It was all fake. Children had nothing to do with it." Gasps filled the room. "He's lying," Vornak shouted. "He's just a thief." But Queen Alina waved her hand. A glowing truth crystal floated forward and hovered near Darren. "Speak again," she said. Darren repeated his words. The crystal glowed green, the color of truth. Now, all eyes turned to Vornak. "You tried to frame the children," Queen Alina said, her voice hard. "You betrayed the crown." Vornik's face turned pale. He turned to run, but the guards stopped him. "You'll face the royal punishment," the Queen said. "Take him away." The crowd cheered. The truth had won. Later that day, Syria walked. In the garden, with Leo and Mira, the air felt lighter. Flowers danced in the soft breeze. "We did it," Mira whispered. Leo grinned. "No more hiding." Queen Alina joined them, smiling. "You were all brave. The people are starting to accept you now. But I want the kingdom to truly welcome you." "What do you mean?" Syria asked. "We will hold a royal unity ceremony," the Queen said. "A public event where the children will be honored as members of the royal bloodline. All of Valmora will watch." Leo's eyes widened. "That sounds scary." "You don't have to be scared," Mira said, holding his hand. "We'll do it together." Syria knelt in front of them. "You both showed courage, kindness, and heart. Deserve this." The day of the ceremony came. The palace square was filled with people from all over the planet. Flags flew in the wind. Music echoed through the sky. Leo and Mira wore royal clothes robes made with gold and silver threads. Syria stood behind them, her eyes filled with pride. Queen Elena stepped forward on the stage. "Today, we honor not just family, but unity. These children are a bridge between two worlds. They are the future." She placed 2 small crystal pins on Leo and Myra's robes. The crowd cheered. Even some of the nobles who once doubted them now clapped with respect. Syria looked out at the crowd. She saw hope in their faces. Her children were no longer outsiders. They were accepted that evening. As the stars lit up the sky, the family stood together on the royal balcony. "You were right, Mom," Leo said. "Valmora feels like home now." Syria smiled and hugged both of them. "Because we stood together." Queen Alina placed her arms around all three. You brought something this world had forgotten. Love that crosses galaxies. But far away, deep underground. A dark figure watched the ceremony through a hidden screen. They think the danger is over, the figure whispered. But the true storm is just beginning. Velmora had become bright and joyful after the royal unity ceremony. The people were now more welcoming. Markets were busy again. Children laughed in the streets. The royal palace was filled with light and music. Syria felt proud. Her children, Leo and Myra, were finally accepted. The queen was happy, and the kingdom seemed peaceful once again. But peace does not always last forever. Deep below the royal city, in the forgotten tunnels of the ancient palace, a man sat in the darkness. His name was Lord Khazar, a former noble who had once tried to take the throne years ago. He was banished for treason, but he had survived in the shadows. He now watched the palace through a hidden crystal screen. So he whispered, Syria has returned and brought human children. Perfect. Beside him stood two cloaked figures. Shall we begin, Lord Khazar? One of them asked. Yes, Khazar said with a wicked smile. The time has come. Velmora will fall, and I will rise. That same night, Queen Elena hosted a quiet dinner in the palace garden for her daughter and grandchildren. The table was lit with floating candles. Soft music played in the background. This has been the happiest I've felt in years, Queen Elena said, sipping from a golden cup. I feel like we truly belong now, Syria added, smiling at Leo and Myra. Leo was showing off a small toy ship that hovered above the table. I made this fly with only 3 wires. Myra clapped. You're getting better every day. They laughed and ate together like a true family, but far above them. In the sky, a small dark ship silently entered Velmora's airspace. It had no lights, no royal permission. It flew quietly over the city and disappeared behind the mountains. In the early morning, something strange happened. A palace guard disappeared. Then another. And another. By the time the sun fully rose, 10 guards were missing. Captain Joran, head of palace security, called a meeting. This is no accident, he said. Someone is moving in secret inside our walls. Queen Elena listened carefully. Double the guard around the children, she ordered. No one is to leave the palace grounds. Syria grew worried. Do you think someone is trying to harm us again? I don't know, the queen replied. But we must stay alert. That evening, Leo and Myra played near the garden pond with a group of royal children. Everything seemed peaceful. Syria sat nearby, watching them with a soft smile. Suddenly, Myra stood up. Mom, I think I saw someone hiding behind the tree. Syria stood at once. Where? Leo pointed. There, he's running. Black figure dashed between the trees. Guards blew their whistles and chased after him. But he vanished into the shadows. That night, Queen Elena called a private meeting. There is a traitor hiding in the palace, she said. We must protect the children at all costs. But Lord Khazar was already one step ahead, that very night. While the palace slept, he sent 2 shadow agents through a secret tunnel. They entered the children's room silently. Leo and Myra were fast asleep. One agent pulled out a stun stick, but before he could move, Myra suddenly opened her eyes. She screamed. Guards rushed in immediately. The attackers tried to escape, but Leo threw a pillow at one of them. Knocking off his hood, Captain Joran tackled him and pulled off the second hood. Who are you working for? The captain shouted. One attacker said nothing, but the other whispered, You cannot stop Lord Khazar. Syria ran in, her heart pounding. She hugged her children tightly. Are you hurt? We're okay, Leo said. They didn't get us. The queen was furious. Khazar has returned, she said. We thought he was gone forever. He wants revenge, Syria said, and he will not stop. Queen Elena nodded. Then we must face him before he strikes again. Early the next morning, Queen Alina made a royal announcement. All citizens of Velmora, hear me." Her voice echoed through the floating message towers. "A threat has returned to our world. Lord Khazar is alive. We will not fear, we will stand together." The people listened. Many were afraid, but most stood with their queen. Inside the palace, Syria met with Captain Joran. "We must find his base." Joran nodded. "We believe it's in the old mountain tunnels. They've been abandoned for years." "I'll go," Syria said. "He's targeting my children. I won't wait for him to strike again." Leo stepped forward. "I want to help too." "No," Syria said firmly. "You stay here. Protect your sister." Leo looked disappointed, but he nodded. "Okay, Mom. Be safe." Syria and a small team of royal guards flew to the mountains. They entered the dark tunnels with weapons ready. Inside, strange machines buzzed. Tunnels were filled with old technology. Suddenly, lights flashed. A voice echoed through the walls. "Welcome back, Princess Syria," Khazar's voice said. "Did you miss me?" He stepped out of the shadows. He looked older, but his eyes burned with madness. "You lost your place in the palace," Syria said. "And now, you want to steal it back?" "No," Khazar growled. "I want to destroy everything your family built." He pressed a button. The tunnel began to shake. Machines started to power up. "You came here to stop me," he said, "but now you'll never leave." Syria raised her arm. "We're not afraid of shadows." The guards opened fire. The battle in the tunnels began. Back in the palace, Leo looked out the window, worried. Mira held his hand. "Mom will be okay, she said." Leo nodded. "Yeah, but I have a feeling this isn't over." The tunnels under the mountain shook as lights flickered and alarms rang. Syria stood with her team of royal guards facing Lord Khazar in the center of his secret base. Smoke filled the air. Old machines sparked around them. Khazar's voice echoed. "With anger, you think you can stop me, Syria?" he shouted. "I was once next in line to rule this world. God, but you chose darkness," Syria answered calmly, "and Velmora chose peace." Khazar pulled out a control device and pressed a button. A giant energy core in the center of the room started glowing red. "If I can't rule Velmora," he hissed, "then no one will. I will destroy it." Syria's heart pounded. "Would destroy your own people? Are no longer mine," he replied coldly. Syria looked at the energy core. It was unstable. If it exploded, it would destroy half the city. She turned. To the guards, "Stop him. I'll handle the core." As the guards fought Khazar, Syria rushed to the control panel. Sparks flew. Warning lights blinked fast. She had only minutes to shut it down. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. She remembered her training from long ago. Wires, codes, coolant switches. "Come on," she thought, "just one more step." Suddenly, the lights turned green. The machine slowed. The core stopped glowing red. She did it at the same time. Captain Joran tackled Khazar to the ground and placed energy cuffs on his wrists. "It's over," Joran said. "You failed." Khazar growled, but said nothing. Hours later, the Queen's ship returned to the palace. Citizens stood in the streets, watching with worry and hope. When they saw Syria step out safely, the crowd cheered. "She saved us." Princess is a hero. Queen Elena waited at the palace gates, her eyes full of tears. "You stopped him, just like your father would have." Syria hugged her mother tightly. Leo and Mira ran across the garden, straight into their mother's arms. "We were so scared," Mira said, hugging her tightly. Syria kissed her daughter's forehead. "I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." You're the coolest mom ever," Leo added. That evening, the palace held a peaceful gathering. No music, no fireworks, just quiet joy and thankfulness. Queen Elena stood before the crowd. "Today Velmora was saved, and not just by our guards, but by my daughter Syria, and by her courage, her wisdom, and her heart." The crowd clapped. Some even had tears in their eyes. And let us not forget, the Queen added, "Leo and Mira, the children who showed us that family is more than blood. It is love, trust, and unity." Leo blushed. Mira smiled and waved shyly in the following days. The kingdom returned to calm. The people started seeing Earth not as a threat, but as a part of their future. Letters came from other planets, praising Velmora's peaceful actions. Some even asked for trade and friendship with Earth Saria. Looked out the palace balcony one evening as the stars shone bright. Queen Elena stood beside her. "The people love you," she said. "I just wanted to protect my children," Saria replied. "You've done more than that," the queen said. "You've given this world hope." 1 week later, Queen Elena made a final royal announcement. "I'm stepping down as queen," she said. "I will now serve as royal advisor. The crown will pass to Princess Syria, and in time to her children." The people cheered. It was the beginning of a new age. Syria stood on the royal balcony, holding her children's hands. She wore a glowing silver crown. "I accept this duty," she said, "not for power, but for peace, for unity, for a better future." Leo whispered to Mira, "We're part of something big now." Mira nodded, "And we'll make it even better." Years passed. Under Queen Saria's rule, Velmora grew stronger and kinder. Trade with Earth began. Human and Velmoran children learned together in the same schools. New ships were built that carried both flags, Velmora and Earth, side by side. Leo grew up to be a space pilot, exploring peaceful missions to distant stars. Mira became a scientist, designing healing machines that helped both humans and aliens. Alike, Queen Saria ruled with wisdom, always remembering the struggles they had faced, the love that brought them through it all. One evening, much later, Queen Saria sat in the garden, now old but still strong. Myra and Leo, now grown, stood beside her with their own children. "You brought us home," Mira said softly. "You gave us a future," Leo added. Saria smiled. "No, we made it together." She looked up at the stars, her eyes shining. "Once I was lost, so then I found Earth, and from that I found you." Her grandchildren sat on her lap. "Never forget it, the stars. Never forget," she said. "Home is not just where you were born, it's where your heart is safe." And under the twin moons of Velmora, the family held each other close, united forever.